Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to How to Handle Your Money During COVID-19, hosted by She Leads Africa in collaboration with Women Will. With our special guest today, Sola Adesakin. Before we begin, we're recording today's session, and you'll be able to view this live session on demand later on our YouTube channel. Other than that, we encourage you to ask questions. Don't be shy. Post your comments in the comment section, and we'll get to them later on in the event during the Q&A. So to get started, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Sola Adesakin. I'm today's moderator and a member of the events team at She Leads Africa. She Leads Africa is the #1 destination for smart and ambitious African women. We produce content and host events that help you grow in your career and build successful businesses. Now I'm going to move on to our other special guests. First of all, I'm going to move on to Sola. Sola is a renowned personal finance coach and a versatile chartered accountant with over 17 years of hands-on experience in personal and small medium enterprise finance. She's built a large community of wildly ambitious women called the Smart Stewards, where Sola teaches sound financial principles and where women can go to learn and get support on their journey to financial independence. Moving on, our other guest today is Simbo Alaturagun. Simbo, I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Kalada, I think you're still showing the YouTube live streaming stuff. So you might want to change your screen on your PC. All right, hi, everyone. My name is Simbo Alaturagun. I am based in Lagos, Nigeria. I am a product marketing manager at Google, and I work on the Grow with Google team. I am also the lead for Women Will, which is our Google initiative to help create opportunities for women globally. In Africa, we do that by connecting women with skills, creating community, and helping women to network with themselves, and also connecting women with events or whatever it is we feel that you need to help you access opportunities and to help you to grow. Why are we collaborating with women with She Leads Africa to help drive this? First, we have identified that COVID-19 is going to be pretty hard on women, or harder on women than it will be for men. Research has shown that there's UN Women research, and there's a lot of information that points to the fact that women will be most affected and impacted when you look at the social economic data post-COVID. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to make sure that we are positioning or helping women within our capacity to be able to connect to resources, to help skill themselves, or to just get you where you need to be post-COVID. We're trying to make sure that you're getting ready for life after COVID-19. We're all staying at home now, trying to adjust to what we think the new normal is, but we really will only know what the real normal is after we have left, after we're out of isolation, we're actually stepping out. So I'm really excited that we are hosting this session. I hope that you find value in it. Sola is a fantastic trainer, and she's very knowledgeable about finances. We have decided to actually do this financial session based on the feedback that we got from you guys. I know that lots of you, almost everyone, I could see all the comments in the comment section about you guys, the people that failed. Fantastic, that is good now. About the people that filled the forms, I could see the feedback from all of you that you wanted to know more about managing your finances during this interesting times. You also wanted to know more about managing your work and managing your career and managing your business. And you also wanted to hear about managing your mental health. So we're putting together a bouquet of items and resources for you to be able to do all these things like you have told us. And this is the first of the sessions that we have put for you. There's a pitch session next week, and you'll definitely get more information about that for all the entrepreneurs in the house, if you're already thinking of what's next for your business. So I'd like you to sit back, relax, and get ready for Sola. And I'm really anticipating the knowledge that will come from this session, because I've heard her and she's a fantastic teacher. So thank you very much for being here, and back to you, Kalada.
Great, thank you, Simbo. Sola, we're going to hand over to you.
Awesome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching this all across the world. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you, Simbo, for the kind words. Thank you, Kalada. Thank you, Shilitz Africa, and good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Sola Adesakin, and this afternoon, I'll be taking you through what I call the beast mode approach for your personal financial management. I know these are, interesting seasons for a lot of people around the world. Some have lost their jobs, some are having to deal with a slash in their paycheck. Some business owners are trying to, walk around with what they have. And it's just been such a funny season. But again, I like the quotable quote that says that for some people, in periods of opportunities, they see difficulties. But for some people, in periods of difficulties, they see opportunities. So it's a mindset thing. And my question as I start my presentation is, on whose team are you? Are you seeing opportunities this period, or are you just seeing the difficulties that COVID has brought around? All right, so let's go into my slides. I'd like to first start with a few points, things that we need to know as foundational things for the purpose of this class. Okay, so personal finance is 20% knowledge, 80% habit. A lot of people would say, help me with my finance, help me with my finance. They read, they attend all the webinars in the world, but they do not seem to make progress. So you may hear a few things today that would make you like, wow. Just as you have been hearing in time past, the most important thing is cultivating the habit, that would help you manage your finances well. Okay, the second thing is that your personal financial success is your responsibility. Don't blame your parents, don't blame your teachers, don't blame your siblings, don't blame your boyfriend, don't blame your partner, don't blame anybody. You have to take absolute responsibility for your financial success. Now, money is a means of exchange. You bring something to the table and then you get something in return. So money is a means of exchange. You bring value to the table and you get money in exchange, typically. Now, money gravitates towards value. Wherever there is value, there is money. And money, of course, is much more than cash. I really, because of time, will not be able to go into the details of that, but money is much more than cash. A lot of people, when you talk about money, all that is going on in their mind is, how much money do I have in my bank account? What do I have in my wallet? So I tell people there are 5 C's to money, and cash is just the least. You have credibility, you have credible relationships, you have competence, you have character, and you have cash. So cash is fine, but again, cash is not the only thing that exists when it comes to money. And of course, during this session, I'd like you to understand the difference between your discretionary income and the disposable income. Let's go ahead, please. Now, disposable income is the net income available to invest after your income taxes. So you earn your salary and the government takes away, the organization takes your taxes away. That is what you call your disposable income. Now, after you take your essential needs, we're going to get into that very soon. You have what you call your discretionary income, and that is what you can spend on whatever you like. So discretionary income is your disposable income minus your essential needs. Next slide, please. In the next slide, I would like to talk about 4 types of wealth that exist. So when people hear the word wealth, they think wealth is just money. Now, for the purpose of this class, let me let you know that there are 4 types of wealth everybody should aspire to have. You have financial wealth, which talks about acquisition and money, which we are all familiar with. You have social wealth, your status, your impact, your influence on your society. How many of you remember Kobe Bryant when he died? A lot more people even knew him in death. So he built and he amassed a lot of social wealth whilst he was living, and that even worked more for him when he was dead. So social wealth is about how influential, not in terms of money, but in terms of impact and influence you are on your society. Of course, physical wealth has to talk with your health, has to talk about your health and fitness, and you have time wealth, we talked about good management of time. So my first encouragement is, as we go through this, session, think about these 4 types of wealth. It is good to seek for money, seek for cash, and seek for financial wealth, but you need to also amass social wealth, physical wealth, and time wealth. Next slide, please. The 3 M's of money. Now, these are just foundational things. Remember, I said earlier at the beginning of the session that we would be talking about the beast mode approach to managing your personal finance. Okay, so I'm just laying some foundational things that you need to think about after this class and get more information about. So the 3 M's of money, there are 3 things you do to money. Typically, make it, manage it, and multiply it. And the skills for each of these levels differ. Some people know how to make money, they earn a good salary, they have good income from the business, but they are not able to manage it. Again, some people know how to manage money, they know how to save, just put something aside in the bank and that's it. They do not know how to multiply money. If you would like to be successful with your personal finance or business finance, you have to know how to make it, you have to know how to manage it, you have to know how to multiply it. And let me quickly give you this scenario. Now, if you turn on the tap in your bathroom and you don't put maybe a bucket or a container under it, what happens? The tap continues to flow. Now, that is making money. If you're not careful, if you're not smart enough to put a container, to put something to take that money, okay, or the water, you're just making money, you're not managing money. Now, the next level is you put the container and you're getting the money. You are getting the money. You are managing, you're making, and you're managing. But at some point, you will agree with me that the bucket becomes full. So do you turn on the tap, especially when you have not had water for like 2 weeks? No. So you look for other containers, you look for drums, and you begin to pour from one container to another. That is multiplying money. This scenario just typically helps you understand the dynamics of making, managing, and multiplying money. Next slide, please. Okay, now let's quickly deal with some common beliefs, psychology of money, some common beliefs that people have. And I bet that you have 1, 2, or 3 of some of these beliefs. So let's run through them. How many of you usually would say, oh, money doesn't grow on trees? You tell your friends, you tell people when you have to do some major projects, or if you're a family person, you're married already, you tell your children, money doesn't grow on trees. Don't waste that stuff. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, that's a common belief. That's a myth that we need to deal with as we go on in this conversation. Now, how many of you often say, I cannot afford this? How many people say that? I say it, but nowadays, what I say is, I am unable to afford it for now. Now, there's a clear difference. I cannot afford it means you are boxing yourself in to say, now, later, or whenever, I cannot afford it. Now, that's a common belief that we need to put aside. Now, some people would say only a few people can be wealthy. Oh, really? You look around and you say, no, the likes of Bill Gates, the like of Warren Buffett are the ones that are really, really destined to be wealthy. And you never see yourself, okay, in the light of being wealthy. So that is a belief you need to put aside. Some people will say it's so hard to make money, you have to keep trying. Says who? Says who? Another belief is you have to always manage what you have to get rich. Yes, I just thought about the importance of managing your money. But again, becoming wealthy is not a function of you just managing and macro-managing. You have to multiply. So again, it's okay to manage money, but that is not the only part to making wealth. Okay, some people will say it takes money to make money. They want to start a business, they don't have the cash. And they would say, no, I don't have the cash. It takes money to make money. How many of you say that? Okay. Now, some people would say, once you can meet your basic needs, just be grateful. Now, that is a common belief that would not allow you make progress on the journey of building wealth, because you just settle in for having your basic needs met. Now, when it comes to wealth, wealth is much more than having your basic needs met. You need much more. So don't say, as long as you can feed, you can eat, you can, take care of your children, just be grateful. No, be grateful for more. Yearn and learn for more, okay, to be more. Now, some people will say you have to be corrupt. Oh, especially in Nigeria. It is only the politicians that are wealthy. If you're not corrupt, you can't be rich. I beg to disagree. And the final one says, without a good degree, you can't be wealthy. Now, do you find yourself in any of these common beliefs? then which of them do you need to ditch? Which of them do you need to put aside? Okay, now these are mental blocks and mental barriers that hinder us from making wealth, because you're just boxed into thinking that you have to be corrupt to make money, only a few can be wealthy, you cannot afford it. Remember I said earlier on that personal financial success is a function of knowledge and habits. Now, our habits are a function of what we truly believe deep down. Our emotional beliefs are conditioning. So if you're conditioned to think that wealth is not for everybody, then you are putting yourself in a situation where your decisions and your actions will follow your conditioning and your belief. So the first place to start from is, what do I really think about money? What do I see money as? In what light do I see money? Now, what are the beliefs that I have about money? Do I have an abundance mindset about money? Or do I think that truly and truly, money is not meant for me, or wealth is not meant for me? I just want to, manage what I have and just live a very simple and a life that is, just satisfied with the little I have. So you have to consider some of these things and ditch those mental barriers. Okay, so let's go on into the next slide. Gradually, we are inching closer to the beast mode approach, which is the crux of this conversation. But I just thought it was necessary to go through some of these things so that we don't go into all of safe budgets. A lot of us have had so many, talks. We've been to webinars, we've been to physical classes in which and during which they have taught us about how to manage and multiply our money, how to invest, how to save. The question is, why are we not practicing these things? And that is the reason I am going through all of this before we go into the beast mode approach. Again, the question is, what is your temperament and money personality? Of course, the 4 different temperament types: sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholy. There's no time to go into the nitty-gritty of that. But again, we have found out from research that your temperament to a large extent determines your relationship with money. Your temperament determines what you do with money. Sanguines are the life of the party, life of the world, God bless them. But they are the ones, according to research, that struggle most with their money. Okay, they're like, they could go out and just say a brand new car, and they'll be like, what? I love this. And they buy the car, and they come back home and they tell their spouse, tell their brother, tell their parents, oh, I saw this new car and I felt and I thought it was nice and I bought it. Okay, they're the life of the party, the jolly good fellow and all of that. Okay, now a sanguine is more likely to struggle with their finances than the other temperament types. Now, the reason I'm also letting you into this is sometimes you struggle a lot in some areas of life, and particularly with your finances. And you think, oh, it's because maybe village people, like, what they say in Nigeria here, some spiritual belief that some people are after you, they are the ones not allowing you to make progress. No, you need to also understand your temperament. Now, choleric are goal-getters. They are firm, they're solid. When they set goals, they go for it at the detriment of anything and anybody that might stand on their way. Now, phlegmatic are naturally simple, gentle people. And according to research, when it comes to money management, they tend to hoard. They tend to save, and, just keep their money. Okay, I hear somebody say, no, I'm a phlegmatic, I'm not a hoarder. But these are just general tendencies, okay, that affect and influence our money actions and decisions. Because you have the melancholy, they are the ones that you call them the perfect budget people. They set a budget and they are going for it, whatever it takes. Now, those are the temperament types. And on the right-hand side, you have the money personality types. I want to believe everybody has gone through, the quiz. You already know who you are. You may be an amasser, an avoider, a hoarder, a money monk, and a spender. An amasser is somebody who equates money to power. They like to have money. They like to have loads of it. They like to achieve their goals with their money. Now, an avoider is somebody who never wants to talk about their money. They never want to talk about their budget. They find it difficult to sit down to say, let me even reconcile my finances. Okay, they avoid anything that has to do with their money. Okay, the other is somebody who, yes, likes to save to the detriment of being a blessing to the world or being a blessing to people around. Now, the money monk is somebody who thinks money is a dirty thing. Have you found people who think you're talking about money? Oh, you're so superficial. Oh, you're so not spiritual. There are people like that. They think when you talk about money, they see money as something that is dirty, something that is bad, and it's just so amazing. We are also wired differently. And of course, the spender. I used to be a spender. By the way, I left school 20 years ago, and I qualified as an accountant 18 years ago. For a better part of my career, I was a chronic spender, okay? Spend like a sanguine, spend without thinking, spend without giving a hoot about what happens tomorrow. You're like, you only live once, and that's what you call YOLO. You only live once, okay? So spender, money monk, order avoider, and master. The good thing is that wherever you find yourself, you can always make adjustments and becoming a better money manager and a better person. Okay, so this is important. Do the quiz. Know what it says about you. I used to be a spender. Right now, I'm an amasser. I make good use of my money, and it's always a journey. Remember, it's about equipping yourself with the right knowledge, okay, and then cultivating the right habits as well. Okay, so now, like I said, the temperaments do have a bearing on your money personality. I'll give you an example. The sanguine is usually likely to be a spender. Now, the choleric is likely to be an amasser, and who likes to be an avoider? Maybe a sanguine as well. The phlegmatic is likely to be the hoarder. Now, this is not by any means exhaustive. I mean, these are just examples. You find people who are sanguine. I have a streak of sanguine, and I'm able to manage my finances well. I know when to say no. I know when to say yes. I know I could right now have money in an account and I completely forget about it because I have applied financial literacy and knowledge to my lifestyle. And a melancholy could be maybe an amasser. They are also very driven. And, so it depends on where you look through the temperament types and the money personality types and fit yourself in and try to make adjustments where necessary. Let's go on. I believe this is the final slide before my beast approach. You're going to find it very interesting. Now, having established all of these things, it's important we look at these key critical things, okay? Value. What does money represent to you? Now, if you hear the name Bill Gates, what comes to mind? Now, Bill Gates is a philanthropist. Bill Gates is somebody who is giving and sold out to charity. Did you know that Bill Gates and some other billionaires around the world have pledged their finances, their resources, their possessions, everything to charity? Now, that is Bill Gates' value. Bill Gates goes all around the world. In Africa, he's trying to treat malaria, he's trying to treat polio. Now, that is his value. We all have different values. Now, the question is, when you hear the word money, what does money mean to you? For me, I want money to give me financial security. I want money to give me peace of mind. So whatever I do with my money would reflect in what I do. My value, my money value reflects in what I do. So I ensure that I'm planning for the future, I'm planning my children's future, I'm planning for my life, I'm planning for everything I need to do. Now, that is your money value. Hold on. Okay, so that is money value. Now, what are your goals? What are your goals? I like to explain the principle of goal setting from 3 different angles. Now, because a lot of people say goals, I have goals. Now, people have short-term goal, long-term goal, and mid-term goal. I usually will advise people that, you know what, don't just say I have financial goals, I am setting goals. Break them down. Your short-term goals are the things you need to accomplish in the next 1 year. So I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house, I want to move houses, I want to go for my master's abroad. Now, that is a way of breaking down your goals, short-term goals. Now, mid-term goals could be, I'd like to buy a house in the next 2 or 3 years. Now, midterm goals are goals that span more than 1 year and say into 3 or 5 years, okay? Now, long-term goals are goals that span into the future. I would like for my child to go to Harvard. Now, that's a long-term goal, especially if your child is still 5 years old, if your child is still 8 years old. Now, a long-term goal is, I like for my son to go to Harvard. Okay, so you have to be able to break down your goals into these 3 different categories so that you can accomplish them. Now, the third thing is, what is your current situation? Now, before you try to make amends, before you try to achieve your goals, before you do all of these things that I'm going to explain in the next set of slides, you need to understand yourself, understand your current financial situation. Where am I at? Am I earning a salary? What are my sources of income? What are my goals? What are my plans? How much do I actually and genuinely have, okay, to do what I want to do in terms of my finances? Okay, these 4 things would help you. And as I go into the latter part of my presentation, which is the action plan. Again, don't forget you need to have a money value. What does money represent to you? Financial peace, security, comfort, philanthropy, whatever it is peculiar to you. Now, what are your goals? Set them, make them clear on paper. Now, what is your current situation? That is you doing a kind of reflection and introspection to understand where you are. And then the final one is the beast mode, and I'm going to spend a lot more time, which is the action plan. Where do we go from here? So I have spoken about the temperaments, I've spoken about the common beliefs, I've spoken about the types of wealth and all of that. Now, where do we go, Shola? Like, what do I literally do from here? So let's go into the beast mode. Next slide, please. Now, the beast mode, I like to teach with acronyms. I like to play a lot with words because I realize that when I talk to people, it is easier to remember acronyms, okay? So I was studying one day and then I came across this word in a dictionary, like the beast mode. What is the beast mode? Now, the beast mode is a phrase that has a dictionary meaning. And it says that the beast mode refers to a state of performing something, especially difficult activities, with extreme skill, power, or determination. Now, let's bring it home to your personal finance. Now, this refers to a state of performing everything that has to do with your financial life, saving, investing, budgeting, or something difficult in your finances with extreme power. So you're saving with extreme power, skill, or determination. That is what beast mode stands for. So let's go deeper into the beast mode analysis. Next slide. Thank you. Now, B stands for budgeting. All around the world, budgeting is budgeting, okay? Now, when people hear the word budgeting, they're like, they cringe. People never, ever want to hear about budgeting. They think that as finance coaches, when we talk about budgeting, we're kind of stifling their ability to do whatever they have to do, whatever they want to do with their money. No, a budgeting, imagine in your heart, is just like a navigator. Now, if you live, I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Some people watching living in Joburg, you're living in the UK, you're living in New York, and just around the world, wherever you're watching from. Okay, now in Lagos, if you're going out and you do not look at your Google Maps, you're setting yourself up for some trouble because you just realize you're going on a particular route and something has happened, they've blocked the road, they're diverting cars, or there's a traffic, a huge, level of traffic or whatever you call it. Now, a budget is like your financial navigator. A budget tells you what to do with your income, what not to do, how to do it, and when. Now, I tell people that whether you like it or not, whether you're making money or not, you must spend money. Now, spending money is sacrosanct. It is, when you give birth to a baby today, already you start to spend money on the baby. So indirectly, the baby is spending money, right? On feeding, on clothing, and a lot more. Even a dead person, the dead person spends money indirectly. How? you're getting ready for the funeral, they bathe the person, they clothe the person, they buy coffin for the person. So see, spending money is sacrosanct, it is established, it is important, it is a phenomenon that can never be erased from the world. Now, if spending money is sacrosanct, so don't shy away from budgeting because you say, but I'm not earning money. Why do I need to budget? As long as you're spending money, you have to budget because the budget is made up of the left and the right-hand side, the upper and the lower side. Income versus expenses. So do you agree with me that you need to budget because spending is sacrosanct? So I like to teach the 50-30-20 rule, 50%, 30%, 20%. Now the 50% rule says 50% of your income should go into your needs. Now needs are what they are, need to have. And what are needs all around the world? Groceries, housing, you pay your rent, transportation, lighting, okay? Electricity, cable. Yes, cable might be a need in some instances.
Hello, everyone. It appears that we're experiencing some technical difficulties at the moment. We're just going to give it a minute to see whether Sola can quickly rejoin us. But in the meantime, we can take a look at some of the questions that have been asked so far. So there's a couple of good chats here. There's a lot of people coming in from Nigeria, from Kenya. Some people from South Africa as well. Okay. We got some people from Kenya in the house. Some of these messages are hilarious. In terms of actual questions, so what are each of your money personalities? Mine particularly, I was a spender, but I wonder what some of you guys have had so far. Okay. I'm just going to quickly check on Sola, and I'll be right back.
Hi, are we still together? I don't know what happened. I got yanked off.
Hi, Sola. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. You're back.
Okay, so I got yanked off. I really don't know what happened. So I'll go on with my budgeting. Okay, so you have budgeting, and you have savings. So I was saying that I like to tweak things around. I like to play around with things. I do more of savings and investments. So I really don't want to splurge 30% of my income every month on my wants. So sometimes I do 50, 10, 40. So it depends on what works for you. But this is like a guide that should show you what to do. Please give me a minute. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So B in the BIS mode stands for budgeting. Okay, now let's look at expenses really quick. Okay, now your expense, like I already explained, is a key part of your financial life. Again, you like it or not, you will always spend money. So I like to tell people, categorize your expenses into need to have and nice to have. So what are your needs to have? Some things are peculiar to individuals, but some things are just general. Example, like I explained on the budgeting, you have your lighting for the month, you have groceries, you have your rent. Now, your landlord wouldn't tell you, oh, you've been an amazing tenant, this year don't pay rent. Even in the midst of COVID, you still have people who are insisting that you must pay rent in advance. Okay, so these are needs to have that you necessarily must plan for. And of course, every other thing that is not a need is a want. Okay, I want a new pair of shoes. I want, so, but a lot of times we would say, I need. Are they actually needs or wants? So need to have versus nice to have. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now, the next slide is earnings. I wouldn't want to dwell so much on this, but I encourage you to read The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, Robert Kiyosaki says that we can make cash flow from 4 quadrants. As an employee on the left-hand side of the quadrant, or a self-employed person. Now, for the employee and the self-employed, you exchange your time for money. If you are not there, you're not making money. If you stop going to work today, you won't be paid. As a self-employed person, you have been able to establish something for yourself, but you have a little bit of more control over your time more than the employee. But again, if you are not there, you are not making money. Okay? Now, the business owner is somebody who owns a system, somebody who is able to leverage on other people's time, other people's resources, other people's skills. Now, don't say, when do I have money to start a business? As long as you can establish a partnership with someone, you can go into a business transaction with someone, and it has a capacity of generating income from you time and again, that's a business. I'll quickly give you an example about myself. So my passion is in personal finance, but I read accounting. I am certified, UK, Canada, Nigerian certified. Okay, over the years, I realized that I wasn't doing as much accounting job as I should. Okay, but because I had gravitated more towards personal finance and business finance and teaching people. So about 2 years ago, I went into a partnership with one of my friends who is also a chartered accountant and licensed. So what did we do? We formed a partnership and we said, you know what? I would be the business development manager. You are going to execute. And we formed a 3-man team. So I get the jobs, she executes with the team. And we have been running that model for 2 years and it has worked perfect. Now, does that make me a business owner or not? Absolutely, because I have set systems and structures in place to make me money by leveraging on other people's time, other people's skills, and other people's resources. Of course, the final one is the I, an investor. Being an investor means you own investments and you put your money to work. So a lot of times we work for money, but we're limited. You're 60, you're 70, you are not able to work as much as you used to work in time past. You know, the good thing about multiplying your money and owning investments is that you can send your money to work. So this COVID season, we have been home, we have been resting and all of that. But some of us have investments and the returns have been working. Financial and capital markets all across the world have been open. They have been working. They have been, you know, they have been selling and buying shares. So your investments have the capacity to make more money for you, whether you are there or not. So where do you think you currently function? And where would you like to function at? And I tell people being an investor is not a function of, oh, I have 10 million. No, if you have 5,000 in your currency, 1,000 in your currency, as long as you put your investment in an asset class, you are an investor already. So next slide, I need to run. Next slide. So B is for budgeting, E is for expenses and earnings. A, accumulate assets. Now, what are assets? Assets are the things that have the potential of returning economic value to you now or in the future. Example, you buy a house, you earn rental income, you can sell it later, you invest in mutual funds, they return some returns to you, and then you can redeem it at any point in time. So assets are things that can bring economic value to you in the future. And of course, your liabilities are things that take away economic values from you. So your assets minus liability is what you call your net worth. For everybody watching this is my admonition. Seek to accumulate more assets. Now, I will explain assets in the form of investments just in about 2 or 3 slides away. Okay, so A, accumulate assets. Now, when you're buying something that is really, really capital in nature, ask yourself, is this an asset? Where would this take me in 2 weeks, in 2 years, in 3 years? Does this thing have the potential of generating additional income for me? I'm not saying don't buy things, don't buy stuff, but I'm saying be more asset-oriented. Next slide, please. Next slide, I think we have savings. Oh, no, okay, avoid debts. This is just a bonus. Be careful of debts. Debts have a way of inundating you. They get you exasperated, especially when you have to borrow to fund your lifestyle. It is not advisable. Run from debts as much as possible and live within what you have as you seek to increase your means. Next slide, please. Now, the next slide talks about savings. Now, savings, let me quickly differentiate between savings and investment. Now, savings is you putting money aside from your income on a regular basis. It is income not spent, and it is you forming the habit of taking away. Now, when I talked about the budgeting, I told you to keep at least 20%. Now, the rule of thumb is keep at least 10% in your savings. Okay, that is just one step. So you put the money aside, which is savings. What do you do with it? You know the reason a lot of us are not successful, which is what I used to do in time past. I would put money aside. I would say, I'm saving. I'll put it, leave it in my bank account. 4 weeks or 4 days after salary was paid, I'll be broke. Of course, I'll go into my savings. Now, savings is, the essence of savings, in my own opinion, is just to cultivate the habit of putting aside. So you put it aside. Now, the next thing is, don't just put aside, okay? You have to put it to work. And that is where investment comes in. So save regularly, save a certain percentage, put it where your money cannot, your hands cannot easily, where it is not easily accessible. Because of time, I would have to rush, but maybe I can take a few more questions along that line. Now, the next slide, you should have goals. You should have saving goals. Remember when I talked about goals, I said, break them down into short, medium, and long term. So your saving goal one could be build up my emergency fund, pay my rent, go for vacation, but have saving goals. And it could be save for investments. Next slide. Now, let me talk about investment. Investment is you putting the money to work. So it is not enough to put the money aside. You must put the money to work. Okay, next slide. And I will show you some of the asset classes that you can consider. Okay, again, your savings should be on your budget. Next slide. Okay, just as already we established that 20% of your money should go into savings and investment. Now, these are asset classes. Some people will say, but what do I invest in? What can I invest in? Okay, so typically there are 4, and by extension, sometimes 5 or 6. On the right-hand side, you have what you call cash and cash, money on deposit, cash and cash equivalents. Those are the mutual funds, those are the fixed deposit. But you will agree with me, in times like this, they are not returning exactly the best returns. Okay, so you need to also look around. Now, the next one will be bonds, federal government bonds. Okay, so the government says, borrow me money for 2 or 3 years. They are longer in nature, and they're what you call fixed income securities, because they are fixed and they're generally not as risky as some other asset classes. The next one is property, real estate. The good thing is that you can either buy a house or you can crowdfund. There are a lot of crowdfunding opportunities to manage your real estate. Okay, and then the final one is equities, which we all know as stocks. If you're in Nigeria, the stock market right now has been a bit bullish, bearish rather. It's a good time to dive in, but please get the necessary financial literacy. Okay, and if you're in Nigeria, you can even buy US stocks right here in Nigeria. So these are opportunities that are bound. Now let's look towards the left-hand side to see a bit of the other asset classes that are not usually. So you have equity, like I said, fixed income securities, cash and cash equivalents, real estate, and you have derivatives. Now, apart from derivatives, you have commodities like gold mutual funds. You have agriculture. In Nigeria right now, agriculture is becoming more and more popular. So you crowdfund either by being a member of an investment club, which is what I do with my own club, about 260 members from all over the world. When opportunities show up, we pull our resources together, we go for it. We go for it, you know, so you just, agriculture, in my own opinion, is one of the areas that COVID is not able to beat. You know why? Because we have to eat. Okay, before I leave this slide, I should let you know that before you invest, there are 4 critical things to consider. I call them SGAR. Your current financial situation will determine what you can invest in. If you're earning 100K, then, I mean, when they're talking about real estate of 40 million, you probably might not be able to do anything yet. So you cannot afford it now, but it doesn't mean you cannot afford it anytime soon. G will be your goals. What are your goals in life? That will determine, don't just, you know, jump on the bandwagon of any investment opportunity. You need to ask a question. Now, these 4 questions: what is my current financial situation? What are my goals? A, what is my age? At 30, I can still play around with the stock market, lose money and gain it back. But at 50, at 60, you put your money in stock market, your retirement funds, you are setting up yourself for trouble. So your age will determine the things you can play around with. And of course, the final one is R. R is your risk temperament. There are basically 3 types of temperaments when it comes to risks. You have what you call the conservative, you have those you call the moderate, and those you call the aggressive. So the kind of risk I can take differs from the kind of risk some other people can take. If you're friends with an aggressive person, a person says, I'm going to put my money, I don't care, and you are naturally conservative, you put your money there, then you're setting up yourself for trouble. So know your temperament types. As I round off, let's go into the next slide. Don't forget, we are talking about the beast mode approach to your personal finance. So we have talked about B, budgeting, E, expense on earnings, A, accumulate asset, S, savings and investment. The final one is track your performance. And this is what a lot of us don't do. And sometimes that is the reason we are not making progress with our personal finance. You know why? So you have saved, you have budgeted. How do you measure your performance? Now, control is a function of you measuring. Now, what you don't measure, what you don't find a way of measuring, you are not able to ascertain progress. So you need to necessarily track your performance to be able to know if you're doing better. In 2019, I did this in terms of spending. This year, I've done better. So you need to track your performance. Use an app. There's so many apps you can use. I use Monify, M-O-N-E-F-Y. I use Pocket Expense, but I love Google Sheets. You know why? I could do Google Sheets on my computer, and then when I go to work and I don't go with my laptop, I can get on my computer at work, sign in into my Google Sheets or wherever, and continue. So I keep tabs of different things, my investments, my daily spending, and I try to reconcile 2 or 3 times a week. So Google Sheets, okay? Now get an accountability partner. Depending on your temperament and your money personality, some of us need a little bit of push, extra push to achieve our goals. Some of us are really, really goal-driven. You don't need anybody to, you know, check on you or to just help you. Okay, so you need to track your performance. Next slide. I think we are at the end of the presentation. Again, don't forget, I said that the beast mode approach will help you. Okay, starting from where we started. I took you through understanding your money temperament, your personality type. I took you through how, you know, to ditch the mental barriers and the blocks that will hinder you from, you know, achieving your goals. And then I taught you about how you can establish your value, your goals, okay, assessing your current situation, and then adapting or adopting the beast mode approach. So I'm going to take questions right now. I think I lost a couple of questions when I.
Hi, Sola. I can feed you some of the questions in the chat. The first question was, can one have all 4 types of wealth?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good place to start. That's a good place to be, rather. Now you have financial wealth, you have money in your pocket, good. You have social wealth, that means when your name is mentioned, people can say, no, this person has influenced my life. Now they come to your aid before, they're at your beck and call. So social wealth for me is actually very important because you have the credibility, you have the credible contacts, and a lot more. So social contact, fine. Physical wealth, do we need to be told to stay fit, to be healthy? You definitely want physical wealth. Now, COVID has made us realize that money, yes, money is good. Money makes the world go round, but is money the most important thing? There are people who had loads of money, and this COVID period, they couldn't be saved. Okay, so physical health is important. Of course, time well, you need to know how to manage your time. You can create more money, but you cannot create more time. So you should have all four. Yes. Second question, please.
The second question is, what are your thoughts on saying if you can't buy something twice, you can't afford it?
Well, I agree with you to a large extent. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. It all comes under the need to have versus nice to have. Now, some people adopt that approach and it works for them. But what I adopt most times is before I make any capital expenditure, especially when I have doubts and it's not something I necessarily need, I give myself 24 hours. So that is so when that impulse comes or when I feel pressured, I have a rule. Think about it 24 hours later and feel your pulse. If you still feel that way about that particular thing, then maybe you need to get it. So if you can't afford it twice, it depends. Now, personal development is one form of investment, okay? I know coaches who will charge you $2,000, $5,000 for personal development, and they give you like a payment plan. Okay, so I may not be able to afford $5,000 twice. They might give me a payment plan of 6 months. So does that necessarily mean I cannot afford or I cannot go for it? So it is relative. Everyone should, it's a rule of thumb from school of thought, but it depends on the circumstance. Maybe for things that you do not necessarily need, you buy a new pair of, you see a new bag or a new pair of very lovely shoes and you have to pay for it twice. Of course, even those luxury items you shouldn't buy on credit and you shouldn't even do payment terms. Okay, so it's relative. For me, personal development, if you have to stagger your payments, go for it. For things that are luxuries and not necessities, if you actually cannot do it once, then you do not need it because they are depreciable assets. Next question.
Next question is, how can I manage my money if my income is very little?
Okay, so there are two things usually when it comes to money management. Make more money or reduce your expenses. I'll start from reducing your expenses. There's a limit to you reducing your expenses. You cut down on so many things, you can cut away the necessities. So it brings me to the other point, which is make more money, seek for more money, look for more money. And how do you do that? Acquire more skills. Now, money gravitates towards value, and value is a function of the skills and the knowledge that you possess. So what can you do in addition? I already shared Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrants. Now, what are the digital skills you can do that you have that you can bring to the table? What are online businesses that you can do? Okay, so it has to be you researching, introspecting, and reflecting to see, you know what? I really, really, really think I need to acquire more skills. Whatever you're doing, apply knowledge, apply technology, apply collaboration. Sometimes you need to collaborate with more people. You need to apply knowledge. You need to just apply technology. Whatever it is, though, make sure it is digitally driven. Okay, I have about over 10 sources of income. They're not things that usually would require my physical presence, but I've been able to set aside systems that would help me accomplish some of these things. Next question, please.
Yeah, we have time for 2 more questions, but we'll go through them. The next question is, how do you get over guilt/regret from having made a bad financial decision and wasted time in the past?
All right, awesome. So identify your triggers. What led you making that purchase? Again, see, even the best of coaches, even I am a coach, finance coach, sometimes I still make those mistakes. So becoming financially literate and, cultivating the right habits does not mean you wouldn't fail or falter or trip sometimes. So identify the trigger, take notes, and make sure you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Forgive yourself and move on. You know what? My policy when I do investments that go bad or anything is, I'm not taking anything out of this world, so I can't even be bothered. Okay? So when I find myself exasperated over some financial decisions, I'm like, everything is even for this world. I mean, apart from this, we're taking nothing anyway. So forgive yourself. I mean, take note of the learning points and don't make the mistakes some other time.
Okay, question 5. How do we differentiate between a need and a want?
Okay, so it is simple. Needs are necessities. Necessities, things that you need to live, to survive, for sustenance, for survival. I give examples. You have to pay your rent necessarily. You have to feed groceries. You have to transport yourself or buy fuel. Okay, you have to pay your children's school fees. Those are things you cannot but live without. You need a house. But once are those things that you can do without. They are just nice to have items, a vacation, luxury items, or you want to dine out. Now, what's the alternative for that? You can eat at home rather than dining out or ordering food. Okay, so those are the things you can use to differentiate. Things that are, for tied around sustenance and survival and needs, and nice to have items are things that you can do without, but sometimes once in a while you necessarily might be fine with splurging or just getting yourself an additional maybe bag or shoe sometimes. But again, these things are peculiar. For somebody who works really hard, vacation might be a need to have because you are amassing your physical wealth. So it really depends. But generally, sustenance and survival are things that come under needs.
Thank you for that, Sola. Unfortunately, we're running low on time. It's been great to have you here. I know that there are a lot more questions in the chat and we couldn't get to all of them today. So if people wanted to ask you more questions, Sola, where could they find you online?
All right, awesome. So I am on LinkedIn as Sola Adesakin, LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter at Sola Adesakin now, SOLA ADESAKIN. And I'm very, very much available on Instagram, Sola_Adesakin. My email, you can reach us at info@smartstewards.com. So Sola Adesakin, Instagram _Sola_Adesakin, Twitter Sola Adesakin, LinkedIn Sola Adesakin, info@smartstewards.com for emails.
Perfect, thank you. And from our side, thank you everyone for coming. If you'd like more information about the programs we're running, the events we're running too, join our community. There are links in the description below. We'd also like to thank Women Will and Simbo for appearing specifically, for collaborating with us. If you want to learn more about Women Will and some of the programs and events they might be running as well, you can check them out at womenwill.com. And then also, you can also follow us on social media at She Leads Africa. I want to thank everyone for coming again. Thank you, Sola, so much for teaching us everything you have today and just everything you've done for us in general. I love it. I love what you do with such big thanks, and thank you for joining us today. From everyone else all over, thank you for coming, and it's been a blast. Thanks.